Hello, welcome to today's video on Power BI for data analysts. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through an in-depth understanding of data analysis expression, otherwise known as DAX or DAX function. If you recall the last video, I introduced DAX and I talked about the two pillars of DAX function. Today we will go fully hands-on with DAX functions, and DAX is an amazing tool, very powerful for anything you need to do with data with Power BI. And these are all the functions. They are really intimidating. So many of them, from time intelligence to text function, from statistics function, or to logical function, financial function, date and time, numeric function, aggregation function, they are all there to make you be a better data analyst. I am sure you have seen a lot of people build some amazing things with Power BI. Behind it is DAX function, and today I am going to demystify it. But before we hop into this, I want you to understand that based on the structure of Power BI, before DAX function, you need to have properly modeled your data. And I have a modeled data open here, and you can see everything here. All right, so this is my model data. And when you look at it, there are several of them. We have loads of facts tables and a lot of dimension table. And today's class, the facts table we are going to focus on is the fat internet sales. And look at it here. We are going to be focusing on this facts table, and push on to use some other dimension like the dimension product or dim product, and we're going to also use the dim date, and we will also consider using the dim customer. So that is the customer we are going to use. Now let's hop in. So if you notice there, they are all connected to each other. These tables are well connected to each other. You can see this is connected to this table. That is the connection, correct? Okay, so let us move in. Like I mentioned in the last video, DAX is built upon two pillars, and these two pillars are the calculated columns and measure. And we also talked about how calculated columns are static and physical columns in a table. Measures are much more dynamic, and that is where the magic of DAX comes in. That is where so many things you see in Power BI really comes from. So let us go in and start analyzing here. So for me, when I want to analyze data or when I want to build DAX function, I usually go to the table view. So this is the table view, and I'm going to walk you through the way I build my DAX function. But before we go on there, let us try and create a calculated column. Let's start with that. So imagine we have sales amount and the total product cost. Here we want to create something like gross profit, and that's going to be like the sales amount minus the total product cost, and that will give us the gross profit. To do that, for you to create a calculated column, you need to do it around the particular table that needs to house the column. All right, this is the fat internet sales. For me to use it, I need to click on it. To create a calculated column, I need to click on these three ellipses and then come on here and click on new column. Notice that we have other things you can do here, like the new measures, new column, quick measure, and all those, refresh data. But what we want to do is the new column. I will click on there. As soon as you click it, you notice we have up here new column equal to, and when you come to the bottom here, you will still see column. Whatever I name it, that is what it's going to be. So I want to name it like new gross profit. And I'm using the word new because I already have gross profit created in one of the DAX functions I created. So this will be equal to the two columns. The first one will be sales amount, and the other one will be total product sold. So the sales amount, for you to get it, everything I need will be within this table. And because it is within this table, all you need to do is to start with the opening square bracket. And as soon as you click on the opening square bracket, that will pop up all the columns that are involved in this table. So, and what we want is the sales amount. So go to S and get the sales amount. Good, I got it. And what I want to do is to subtract it from, again, the other column is within here. So I'm going to go to the total. I'll start typing it out. Total product sold. And that's it. This is all I need to do. I need to click on the enter key or click on this button, and then I have my new column. So here we go, new gross profit. And you might think it's the same number. No, when you click in here and then you will see all the different numbers. So this is correct. It automatically picked up the dollar sign. That's because the other columns were formatted that way. All right, that is it about calculated column, and that's how easy it is. You can do a whole lot of things. You can write a whole lot of functions. We are going to focus more on measures. So let's push in. And you notice, even with a calculated measure, you notice that it is occupying a space in memory. So it has a physical space in memory that it's occupying, and that is why we do not recommend that you keep writing calculated column all the time. Only do it when it is necessary. If you can do it with measures, please go with measure, but only do calculated column when it is absolutely necessary. That is my strong recommendation. In this place, all we teach you is industry standard, the way it is done in businesses. So let's go to where the magic lies, and that is measure. And I've already explained measure and calculated column extensively in my previous video, which I'm going to leave in the description. It is also easier for you to find it within the Power BI playlist. You will be able to find it. All right, so let us continue. Calculated measures, or you can call it measure, simply lives in the function or in the formula. It doesn't occupy any space. Just like you see this calculation, and it's quite flexible. Like I could decide to calculate total sales and have that particular measure live in any of these tables. Or I can create a new table for it, live in. That's how flexible measures behave. Now, to create these measures, this is the way I do, and I recommend. This is the industry standard. You create a folder or a holding table for all your measures depending on the group or the category. You can categorize all the measures that has to do with sales in one group and categorize another one that has to do with date or time in another group. So here, let's create just one group to have all our DAX. And to do that, I will go to Table Tool, all measures, and that's all I need. I do not need to put any expression. This expression is enough to create a table for us, and because it starts with A, it's going to be at the top. So like I told you, you can have your measure live anywhere. So to prove that to you, what we want to do next is to create this total sum. And now this total sum, the table lives in fat internet sales, but I can't create it in another place. Let's try creating it here inside this account table. So that you understand how flexible measures are. So instead of column, I will go for measures, and we go. This is going to be, name it total sales. Want to create total sales, so we start with sum. Having typed sum, notice how the functions that relates to sum pops up. I want the first one. I'll click my tab key to get it, and it says this function adds all numbers in a column. We're talking about fields that are numeric. Another thing you will notice is that a lot of tables have popped up. Now, if I click on single quote, it brings up all the tables that exist here. So, but the table I want is facts. The more you type it, the more it pops up. So fat internet sales, that's the table. I've picked it, but we need a column we want to calculate. Because I have picked that table, all the columns come up. So I want the sales amount. So I'll go to S, use my arrow key, go to S, and that's the sales amount. I have picked it. Then I'll close the bracket for the sum function and enter key to calculate. And all right, it's telling me that the name total sales is already used for a measure on the table. So on the table, sales measure. So I've got another table known as sales measure. So I'm going to close this and rename it. I'm going to name it new total sales. All right. And I'm sure that we work good. That is working. Notice how it is here. So I also notice how it is different from the other columns, and it doesn't even exist in any of this column as the table is here. So that's what I'm talking about. It is a measure. It only exists as a formula until you apply it on the front end. So let's move on. Now, because I have it here, I want to move it to this all measure. And that's simple to do. I'll click on it. I'll come up here, and within here, that's where the magic happens. All I need to do is, this is the home table, which is the dimension that we have here. And the other one is the name of the DAX. So all I need to do is to move it from this home table to where I want it to be. And that will move from here. I want it in all measure, and that will load. Voila! It is in the new table, and that's how simple it is, and it still works there. This calculator icon shows that it is a measure, unlike this showing that it is a table, and then the other ones are column. That's how you know measure. Oh, good. So that's how simple it is for you to create a measure. Guys, if you're getting value from this video, please consider subscribing. If you have not subscribed, give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends so that you can encourage me to make more videos like this. All right, let's go back to the video. Now we have created the sum, and it is so easy for us to know whether this is correct or not. All we need to do is to quickly go to the report view, click on it, just click on a card, it comes up, you can drag and drop it wherever you want, and then drag this is the total column we need, the total sale we created. So just drag and drop it here, and here we go. We've got our measure visualized, and this is how you know you've created it. And that's how I try to build mine. Whenever I create any measure, I try to place it on a card to be sure that I am doing the right thing. All right, let's try some more things. So we move back to the table view, and let's do another function. So I'll pick up that, and this time around I want to calculate average sales value. You just see how simple that function is. Average sales value, and then that's it, equal to, now we start with the function average, and I want to pick average. So everything that relates to average pops up, but what I want is average only. So I'll pick it up, and then it's asking me which table do I want. I would like to start with this single quote and then FAT internet sale, because that's where it is. And what I want to use is again sales amount. Come in and push this sales amount. Good. And I will close it. Enter. I am done with that. That's how simple it is. Let us go again and try another type so that you get used to this. Let's try to get something like the number of orders. So we go in to get the number of order. Every line represents an order. So you want to get a distinct line because it's going to be working with an ID column, a form of a primary ID. So it's a unique identifier. So it uniquely identifies every row in that sales table or in that SWOT table, and that is sales order number. So let's go and name it number of orders, and then what we want is, because we want unique, in case there is any form of duplicate, that will disappear. So this counts, distinct counts of, again we are on FAT internet sales. What we want is sales order number. So we'll go to S. Good. I'll have it and I will close it. Excellent. And I have this. This is so amazing. Let's go back to the report view and try to analyze this. So this time around, instead of using a card, I will use, our beautiful bar chart. So I'll pick up let's try the average, and then it's giving us a number, and that number is saying the average is C486. 486, that's the average sales. Let's see how it distributes across anything that has to do with product. Okay, so because we are also using the product name, so we'll go to the dim product here, expand it. Let's try using something around model name. Yeah, that's work. Model name. So place it on the y-axis And here we go. This is well visualized. Beautiful. See what we're talking about. You can also go ahead and pick up the bar chart and try to see what you did in the other measure, which is the number of sales or number of order, and the total number of order is telling us, when I hover over here, you see 27659, 27,659 orders. Let's see how they distribute around the size. We say size, yeah, let's use size, and good. You see how I place it? It automatically picked it. Now we have a particular size that is not actually coded. So let's try and filter it out so that we can have a clear picture of the visualization we have here. So I'm going to click on it and go to filter. On filter, all I need is that order number. So in size. So in size, I will select everything and select this. So yeah, and that's it. I have been able to filter that out, and you have to be sure why you want to filter before you filter. Good. So this is so beautiful. Our DAX functions are taking shape, and this is amazing. Now notice that we have only been building with just the aggregate function, and it's just straightforward. But DAX function is not that straightforward. It has so many other things that comes with it. Like you have it here, you can combine functions from different groups as it is properly grouped here to give you some amazing functionality. The new one we are going to pick up is what we call the superhero of DAX function. And can you guess it? The superhero of DAX function? It is called calculate. And that's it. It's among the filter function, calculate. So I'm going to click on it. And what it says it does is it evaluates an expression in a modified filter context. That's what it does. So let's go and practice it. So imagine you want a KPI that only shows you sales for bike category, regardless of any other sales or any other filter applied. So let us try and see what happens. We come in here and create, click here, measure, and I want to create bike sales. We start with calculate. So you see it come up here, I'll pick it. And what it's saying is, we already have total sales, which is like our new total sales. We're going to use our DAX function, filter it against a particular parameter, and then get what the value is for that. All we want to get is the value for the bike category or product category. So let's go. First of all, it will pick an expression. Just like it stays here, it will pick an expression and then the filter. If you still want another filter, it picks. So the expression we are going to pick is simple. So we want the new total sales, and then separate it to a comma, and then it's asking for the filter. And that is where a table comes. We're going to be using dim product category. Let's see. Yeah, that will go. And what we want is the category name. Excellent. And then we want it where it is equal to bikes. That's it. Then I will close my bracket. So all we did here is we created a bike. That's the name of the function. And then we said we use this calculate function to say get us the total sales where the category name is equal to the bike. And that's it. And then we continue. All right, so I will say okay, and then we continue. And now let us go and visualize it again. Good. So I'm going to use this time around a card, and the measure is this. So it's telling us that bike sales is this amount. That looks quite huge. So let us try and visualize it. Before we start doubting what we have done, let us compare. This is the total sales and this is the bike sales. How come bike sale looks like over 98% of the entire sales? So let us go and verify what happened. So I'm going to use a bar chart. Simple. You are now into full analysis. I'm going to pick up this total sales, and then I will go to the product category. Yeah, that's the product category, and that's the English name. So perhaps we are correct. See, and that's it. Bike has the enormous amount, and this is 100% correct. Notice how if I click here, this number does not change. I just clicked on the accessory, everything around filters to show us the amount, but this does not change, and that is where the filter function comes in. That is the calculate function. Sorry about that. So calculate function is part of filter functions. So That's why it comes into play here. It doesn't matter whether we try to filter across any of this order category. It's not going to affect this because we had already applied filter on it. But it will, let us remove it. It will affect it if we do by size because it doesn't have anything to do with the bike, and that's how simple it is. If we click another one, it doesn't have a bike category. The medium size do not exist in bike category, and that is why we have blank here. So if I click out here on the clothing category, bike still remains the same. It doesn't change. If I click bike on its own, it remains the same. That is the power of this calculates, and it's important that you notice it. And it is going on well. And imagine how interactive our analysis is. As I click only on bike, you notice all the other category or the other sizes it actually affected are filtered out too. This is beautiful. So let's move on with our work. So now the next is, let's try time intelligence. It's even with our calculate. Let's try time intelligence. And this is part of it. Let's go and check it out. Okay, this is everything around dates. So let's try and look for it. So it is not here. I think it should be in time intelligence. Let's look for it. Yeah, we go, time intelligence. So let's try and do something. We want to use the function same period last year. Same period last year is here. And what it does is, so it returns a table that contains a column of dates shifted 1 year back in time from the dates in the specified dates. So if we specify 2025, it returns a column of table that shifts to 2024. And that has to be in the current context based on what you apply it to. But this time around, we're not going to just use this. We're going to make it make sense. What I want to calculate this time around is sales last year. So you notice how we are using DAX functions from multiple groups to make sense of our data. So same last year, or sales last year, we use again our calculate function, and then we pick up again the total sales, which is our new sales, comma, just like we did the other time. So I'm going to say same period last year. Power BI is intelligent enough to understand what I need, and I will go with so dim dates. Good, and I want the dates. All right, that should be the date key. Let's see, we're going to figure it out after that. Okay, and we have closed the bracket for same period last year function. We need to close this bracket for the calculate function. So that's the two brackets, and we are good to go. Enter, and let's see what it comes up with. So it is done. Let's see, that is the date key. So this doesn't look like date was. Can we try and convert it to date? So it's showing whole number here. So let's come up here and change the data type to date. We can't automatically convert this to date type. All right, this cannot convert, but it's supposed to be a date. What I need to do is to try and use this full date alternate key. We can actually go to Power Query and also do this conversion. That will be easier there. However, let's change this to date. It's already a date key. So you can see, let's go back to our function and convert that. Instead of using the date key, we use full date alternate key. So, but before we do that, let's go and see if the time intelligence was able to pick up anything. So let's go here and try our function. I'm going to drag this here. Sales this time last year sales, let's see. So nothing happened because it found it difficult to detect that date because it is not a date. It needs to work with a date function, with a date column. So let's go and change that. We'll come here. This is the column, the measure we are talking about, and let's change this. Let's change it to, so full date alternate key. I think this works, hopefully. So I will say, okay, instead of just the date key, which was not in date format. So when we come here, we got this. And this is telling us last year, same period last year was this amount. Well, this data does not have up to 2025. So that is why it is still telling us this amount. If it was up to date data, you will be able to see the difference. But yeah, that is how to calculate days. All right, I hope this is making sense. DAX function is as simple as it gets. We can consider year-on-year sales growth. There are several things we can actually do with DAX function. So let's look at this. If you want to calculate something like year-on-year sales, mind you, this data is not up to 2025. That is why you're not seeing all those dates. So that's why you're not seeing the difference in that, in anything that has to do with dates. But then we still need to calculate this function. So let's go. All I want to calculate is this year-on-year sales growth percentage. Then I will go divide, going to use divide. So what divide does is, let's quickly pick it up. So that's an arithmetic function. So let's look for it. Okay, that should be my maths and logic. So let's look for divide. Yeah, that's divide. So if you know what you're doing, you know that all these groups exist, you can easily come in and pick it. So divide is just like your normal divide, but why it is good to use this is that it performs division and returns alternate results, or returns blank when it is divided by 0. So when at any point there is a division by 0, it returns blank instead of returning an error. So let's move on and deliver this. So we'll pick divide, and what we want to do is to get sales, new total sales. That's what we're looking for. And then we'll take away total sales last year. Mind you, we're looking at sales year on year percentage, the percentage of sales year on year. So we look at new total sales minus sales last year. Where is it? And then that's it, comma, then divided by the denominator, which is the total sales, then divided the denominator, which is the sales last year, if you understand the formula for calculating percentage change. So that will be sales last year again, and then I will close the function. It's only one function we used, so I will close it. And it's saying it's 2%. Year-on-year growth sales is 2%. All right, I'm just enjoying this whole thing, and let us quickly change this to a percentage. So because it's percentage, you just need to click on this percent, and yeah, so you need to pick the DAX function you're working on, and then click on percent, and then wait 2%. That's it, 2.1% or 2.2%. That is the percentage growth. So let's try and visualize this on a, all right, so we just visualize this with the class, and we have different classes here, M, L, and H around the product. That's the product class. So let me try and filter out this blank so that we don't get confused here. Okay, good. So with this, you notice that year-on-year growth for M class is 3.19%, whereas the H class is growing at a mere just 1.7%. And that's how easy this thing is. Guys, this is DAX function in display. It doesn't get easier than this. All right, so we have easily built this, and I could decide to arrange this. Even though this is not a dashboard class, I can arrange this and create a simple looking dashboard and no form of formatting, just as it is. And then I'll have this here. Yes, I have this there. I have that. And okay, so I'd like to bring this up here. Okay, yeah, it's fine here. And then push this here, and then bring this by the side. And I can then arrange it, just do a little arrangement. Okay, and I have my dashboard. Well, not the best of dashboard, but you can imagine what you can build. All you need to do is to just understand how to create your DAX function, and you are on your way to building amazing things. And this is just a simple dashboard. If I just want a little bit of it to come out, I can just make the background. I can click out and go and try and format the background a little. I could just go and format the background a little by clicking out, but not in a format. This is not a format class. Otherwise, we can just come in here and give the background info, the background. Instead of white, give it a bit of a dark color. So something like this. And of course, reduce the opacity so that it will show. All right, so that's it. Not a beautiful dashboard, but you get what I mean. Simple and easy, straight to the point. That's what that function gives to you. Just as easy as this is. All right, so let us recap on this. All right, so as it stands, we have completed this very little dashboard with our simple DAX function. It doesn't get better than this. This is how it is. And you can then start organizing your work. That is DAX function for you, and from here you can actually go and do a lot more, because there are a whole lot more you can do. Just understand that they are grouped, and because they are grouped, it becomes easier for you. We have discussed the two pillars of DAX, which is the calculated column and measure. We have through them created a column and created multiple measures using a lot of aggregate function, and then the filter function, which is calculate. And then another function we also use, it's the time intelligence. Just go and get creative, guys. You can do a whole lot more. It all starts with your problem statement, and then it goes on and on. That is it. You can do that. You can come in and you can build this amazing type of dashboard, very interactive. You can build dashboard very easy and simple like this one. Just go and be creative, guys. If you got value again from this video, please share. Join this amazing group. We are creating value. We are getting you ready for the market. We are creating things that will help you become a better data analyst. Please encourage me to do more videos through your likes and share of this video. I always respond to all the comments. So please leave your comment in the comment section. I am going to respond to them. Talk to me. What is the most difficult DAX function you have created? Let's talk about it in the comment section. And what is your favorite DAX function? And my favorite, I just used it. Guess what it is? Let's talk about it in the comment section. All right. Till I see you again, please keep analyzing.